here coming at you, answering all your questions, whatever question you have. Just want to see what is going on. I'm here to answer whatever questions you have about immigration. So many interesting things have come up this week. One thing that I'm grateful for is I got a case approved that I worked on for over 5 years. 5 years. It's a long time. But I'm here to talk about you and your questions. A lot of questions we've been having this week in our office about the I-864. Those are great questions. I'll be sure to talk about those if you have them. Let me take a few others that came to me. One was, can being a safe same-sex couple cause issues when filing a marriage-based green card? And the answer, surprisingly, is that it doesn't cause any issues if you are in a same-sex relationship. You should know that you have the same hassles that everybody else has, but you don't have any additional ones. I've done a lot of same-sex marriage cases for gay, lesbian, trans couples, but I've never been in a moment where I felt like USCIS was discriminating against someone because they're gay. And that's as it should be, which makes me happy because I want to live in a world where people are treated equally and people can be with whoever with who they love, regardless of whether they're in a heterosexual or same-sex marriage. All right, here's another question. What does it mean if you're called back in for a second interview? Well, I assume that question pertains to a marriage green card. A marriage green card. So if they call you in for a second interview, this is unusual. They don't typically have second interviews for marriage green cards. So if you come in for a second interview, it probably means that they are suspicious about your marriage relationship. And sometimes at these second interviews, they'll separate they'll separate the spouses and they'll interrogate you. That's called a Stokes interview. So that's what I think. Second interviews probably means that there's some issue. Here's a question from TikTok. Have you seen faster I-601A approvals after HEART? No, I have not. I-601A is going to take some time. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know. I'm here to help. I'm here to help on this Friday. All right. Let's see what you got. Come at me. Here's one from YouTube. This is from Ugadal. My husband's deportation case was dismissed without prejudice. Non-violent, non-felon, non-offender, only a misdemeanor traffic ticket. How likely it is that his case will be reopened in the future? I'm not sure what you mean by reopened. I think what you mean by reopened, is that how likely is it that your husband would have to go back to immigration court? And the answer is probably very low likelihood of success. Very low likelihood that he'll have to go back to immigration court at this point. Is there any update about a marriage-based green card processing time? This is from Mokrane James, our friend on YouTube. Well, when it comes to processing times, I have a few things to say. First is that the processing times are going to be longer than you expect, longer than you want, and longer than they should be. That doesn't answer the question of how long they're going to be. And so I'll try to take a stab at that today. If you have a marriage-based green card that you're filing through adjustment of status in the U.S., my guess is it's going to take 12 to 18 months. That's rough estimate. All right, let's see what other messages I have on TikTok. All right. Let's see here. Flores DJR. I'm married for 1 year. Will I get my residency or 2 years? Can it be 10? I think Flores, I think your question is, so let me give you some background. When you apply for a green card through marriage, you're going to get a 2-year conditional green card if your marriage is less than 2 years old at the time of approval. And then at the end of those 2 years, you're going to have what they call a 10-year. You'll have to go through the process of what we call removing the conditions on residency, and that's how you go from a 2-year green card to a 10-year green card. Amy Maldonado, one of my favorite immigration lawyers. Amy is amazing. I always refer her cases, and I'm happy to do so. But back to the question at hand. If you are married for 1 year and you apply for a green card through marriage, the question is, how old is your marriage at the date that they approve it? And the answer is typically, most people will probably get a 10-year green card, because if your marriage is already a year old and you applied now, it could take another year or more for you to get the interview. But it's not a big deal, because if you have to apply for to get a 10-year green card through the conditional residency removal process, the I-751, it's not the end of the world. You can do it. Here's a question from a Facebook user. Why do they give 221G questionnaire even after everything is fine at the visa interview? I think that we have Donald Trump to thank. This is part of what they call the extreme vetting process. They take applicants from countries like Pakistan, Iran, Cuba, and they say, here, fill out form DS-55. We're putting you into administrative processing. It's not fair. It's not legal, but I think that's what they're doing right now, right? Come at me with more questions. EOIR case stuck at USCIS. Oh, this is from Hani Barwago on TikTok. Definitely should reach out to us, because we can help you with that. A lot of cases get stuck when they're moved from EOIR to USCIS. They get stuck, and we can help them get unstuck. Here is Mate Yare. How about Somalia? How about Somalia? Let me know what questions you have. Here's from a Facebook user. After how many days after the interview can we ask the consulate about 221G status? Well, you can always ask the consulate about your status. The question, though, what they usually do is they hand out something and they say, well, it's supposed to be, you're not supposed to inquire to us until 6 months have passed. 6 months. So that's what they typically do. And so I think you want to wait 180 days. There's nothing magical about it. You don't have to wait 180 days, but that's what they tell people. Excuse me. Here's Manzur Ali. Can you tell us about the Islamabad embassy? The Islamabad embassy is absolutely horrible. We have filed so many lawsuits against them to help Pakistani people whose cases are delayed. Can you share your thoughts about clearing the backlog from the Islamabad embassy? It's going to take years for them to do that. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Are they doing anything to change that? I'm not sure, but we're filing tons of lawsuits against them, and they deserve it because they're not doing their jobs. Their cases are not getting processed. People can't get interviews, and then when they get interviews, they get stuck into 221G, and they deserve all the lawsuits that we've filed against them because they're negligent or they're not doing their jobs, and I think it's terrible. All right. What other questions? Here's Juan Arguete. He says, U visa certification denial by local law enforcement. That's terrible. Not sure what your question is. Can we file a group mandamus lawsuit? So our firm files lawsuits on behalf of individuals. We don't do group lawsuits. And we've gotten great results with individual lawsuits. So that's why we do it that way. Here's a question from on TikTok. Can a pending asylum applicant apply for an E2 investment visa? The answer is maybe. You can't be out of status at any point. So if you entered the US and you applied for asylum shortly after you entered and you never fell out of status, then I think it might be possible. What are some other questions that you have? Manzur, you follow me on TikTok. Thank you so much. I've been creating a lot of content on TikTok this week, and I'm really having good time with it. Love the platform. I love YouTube, Facebook, all these places. It's great. It's just a great way to connect with people like you, each of you. So I appreciate that. Here's Big Lee. Have you done 212H waivers in the past? We do waivers like 212H. I will make more videos about Islamabad. I'll do it. I'll do it right away. I'll do it today. Here's a question from a Facebook user. It says, I'm from Pakistan. I'm doing my PhD in Denmark. I applied for a B1, B2 visa from Copenhagen, Denmark to attend a conference in the US. They put me in administrative processing on January 9th. When can I expect an answer? Well, you should get an answer within 60 days, but you have been waiting and waiting and waiting. And the strategy that we would use in this situation is we would go to court and we would file a lawsuit to challenge the delay. And that's usually going to take a few months. So if you want to get there in June, we should probably start your lawsuit right away. Yes, Manzar, I'm going to make another viral Pakistan video. I'll do that today. I'll try. We got so many Pakistani clients. I have a lot of Pakistani friends. I play squash, and so a lot of the old time Pakistanis players I'm friends with them. Here's a question from Let's Say R. Do you know how long the processing time is for TPS under Uniting for Ukraine if submitting TPS today? My guess is about 8 months. That's what I would do if I were guessing. Someone says, how much for a lawsuit to challenge a B1, B2? So the price that we charge to file lawsuits varies from case to case. We'd have to know more about your case before we can determine whether we can help. And if we can, then we can talk to you about the cost. Thank you. Thank you. No. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. Yes. Yes. I think it's terrible what they're doing to Pakistani people. I think it's terrible. It's unfair. People are innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. And they're making them wait and wait and wait. So I think it's terrible. Is my lawyer good if he doesn't do support? Let's see. Someone says here, we have Adam Hashboon. He says, is my lawyer good if he doesn't do support like immigration, like crossing? I'm not sure what he means by that. Please answer Jackson's question so he stops. I don't know what Jackson's question is. Jackson says, I'm EB4 under SIJ 120K plus approval applications waiting for GC. When do you think you'll be current again? Well, there's one thing that I have no idea about is no matter, let me put it this way. I consider myself a good lawyer. I try to be a good lawyer. I work hard. I'm diligent. I'm passionate about my work. But there's one thing I can't do. There are many things I can't do, but the one thing that you're talking about is predictions of the future. And the Visa Bulletin is very unpredictable. I can't tell you when something is going to be current. I don't know. Uh, Manzar says he really likes the live thing. It's helpful. That's cool. Can my beneficiary apply for a B1 to B2 visa while the petition is pending for an F2A? Manzar, that's a question that many people have asked me. Can you apply for a visitor visa while your application is pending? And the answer is yes, you can. But to get a visitor visa, you have to prove that you're not going to immigrate to the US on your trip. You're going to have to prove that you're going to wait in return to your home country, and you're going to stay there until the case is ready to be processed. So what does that look like? The things that you want to bring to that appointment are proof that you have a job in your home country, that you have a house in your home country, that you have a car, that you have immediate family members. So you want to show ties to, in your case, Pakistan. What most people do is they do it the other way. They will they'll provide a lot of proof for why they need to visit the US, but that's not exactly what you need. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments below. All right. It says here, please, is it possible to have citizenship with records of 3 family violence misdemeanors I have? Well, I think it's hard for me to give you advice on that without looking at the criminal case. If you're a US citizen, you can't lose that by having criminal cases, typically. So I'd really need more information. Does that make sense? All right. I'm answering more questions. Do you have to be in legal status to send a letter of invitation for a B2 visa? A letter of invitation for a B2 visa. I don't know. No, yes, you do. Manzar, I was going to say I can predict the Visa Bulletin for February because it's already out. So I'm a genius. I just Googled it. But can I predict March? No, I can't. Let me give you an example of why I can't predict the Visa Bulletin. In June, I think it was, of 2023, the Visa Bulletin retrogressed. It went backwards. Okay. No one could possibly have predicted that the Visa Bulletin was going to go backwards, but it did. So sometimes it stays the same. And sometimes it jumps ahead, and sometimes it goes backwards. It is a mysterious beast. There's no way to tell what it's going to do. So only a fool would try to predict the Visa Bulletin. And I've seen many immigration lawyers predicting things. Here's a question from Blessed Queen on TikTok. She says, my I-601A has been transferred to a new office over 6 times in the past year. Should I be worried? The answer is no. Those transfers don't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your case. It doesn't mean that your case is going well. I don't think it means anything. Nothing at all. So let me know what other questions you have. I'm here for you. It's a Friday. I'm feeling good. Folks are getting views on YouTube by making predictions. Yes, that's true. Another type of video that I hate that immigration lawyers make is where they make a video where they're talking about the new bill. There's this new immigration reform bill that's coming out. This is amazing. You have to know about this. I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about this new immigration law. And in fact, nothing's going to become of it. It's just it's false hope. And I don't think you should spend much time focusing on political, like the immigration laws that we have in the US were created in 1996. 1996. 1996. The internet basically wasn't invented at the time, you know? So in an election year, when the Republicans want to campaign against immigrants, there's not going to be any big immigration laws coming out. So I don't think one of my basic beliefs is that you're better off dealing with the situation, the reality. Deal with reality. Deal with the situation at hand. Don't spend your time and energy focusing on this new great immigration law that might maybe come out that probably won't. Here's a great question from Fanu. Do you recommend taking advanced parole with someone with DACA? Yes. If you have DACA and you're eligible for advanced parole and your case is clean and there's no other reason why you shouldn't travel, then yes, I definitely think you should travel with advanced parole. Let me know. I've had a number of inquiries from Sudanese people this week. We have a lot of Sudanese clients. People from Sudan often have cases that are delayed, and we're able to help them get approved. So if you're from Sudan, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear where everybody's coming from. We have some Pakistani folks in the house. Here's one from Kim Archie Rocafor. Options for J1 visa holder to gain permanent residency without 2-year home residency requirements at current visa. Well, if you're a J1 visa holder and you have a 2-year foreign residency requirement, then you have to get a waiver of that. And you can do that through a no objection statement or through a hardship waiver. Maybe you could serve in an underserved area if you're a medical doctor. But J1 visa holders could get green cards through marriage. They could get green cards through the DV lottery, through employment. They could apply for asylum and then get then get a green card through asylum. There's lots and lots of options. Sammy Carrigo, can I contact you about my J1 revocation to see if you can help me apply for a waiver of inadmissibility when I apply for another J1 visa? What would you advise me? Reach out and we'll try to help you. I don't know what else I can say. Let me know. Let me know, people. Let me know. Manzar says, my brother needs a co-sponsor for our parents. What documents does he need and when will he need it? I'm going to be the co-sponsor. So if you're the co-sponsor, you're going to need proof that you're a citizen or permanent resident. You're going to need to know your adjusted gross income on your taxes. You're going to need a driver's license to show you live in the U.S. Those are the things that you need. So you probably need your tax returns for the past few years, just so we can make sure that you have the right number of things. You have things sorted out. Let me know what questions you have. I'm here for you. I am making videos today and this weekend. Is there a question that you have that you'd like me to make a video about? I can make a whole video for you for free about any topic that you want. You just have to ask me. How long? Here we have Stella Marie Rosia McCoy. I'm from the Philippines. Salamat, salamat, salamat. My wife is Filipina. How long the spouse can stay in the U.S. who has an approved K3 visa? Um, well, I mean, you're supposed to take care of business when you get in on that visa. Um, Islamabad embassy backlog. Yes. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know about it. Let's see here.